Once, before I started at McLaren, I went to Bahamas on vacation, and I check into the hotel, and behind the reception hangs a sailfish, like a big sailfish. And he says to the receptionist, "Oh wow, why is there a sailfish here?" And she goes, "I don't know." So most people wouldn't even notice the sailfish, but he wants to know, right? And then the order comes out, and he starts learning about sailfish. And then he's flying home to start at McLaren.
Welcome back to another episode of Limitless. Today I'm so happy because we have a special guest all the way from Sweden with us. He's here to talk about creativity, and we have with us therefore Fredrik Härén, and he's going to talk about his new book, The World of Creativity. So Fredrik, a warm welcome to you in a cold Sweden.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. I really look forward to this conversation.
Me too. It's as I was sharing just before we logged on, being born in Sweden, I have definitely a link to Sweden with you. I love following you. And today we're going to introduce the world of creativity and Fredrik Härén also to our listeners. So kick us off, Fredrik. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I call myself the creativity explorer, and I think it's actually a very good description. So I've spent the last 25 years or 26 years now traveling around the world and learning from creative people all over the world. So, and then as a profession, I'm a speaker and an author. And then I turn the lessons that I've learned from these creative people into lessons that is general for anyone, so that we all can become more creative. That I want everyone to discover their full creative potential. That's kind of my mission in life. I just love traveling the world to meet creative people of all kinds. And I'm sure we're going to talk about some of the people I've met.
Yes, absolutely. But first of all, let's go back in time. Creativity. Why did you end up working on in that space?
It's a good. I have a few different answers to that question.
Can I vote? I remember in one talk, Fredrik, you gave to our community, we could vote on what topic you would present, and that was very creative.
Yeah, you mean should we vote on which answer I give you?
Yes.
Let me just pick one of them. Of course, there's many different reasons, but one reason is that I have an identical twin brother. You and I actually look like twins. You look like a more fit version of the other twin. But I have an actual identical twin. And when we grew up, I like to explain to people that to have an identical twin is like having 1/3 yourself, 1/3 your best friend, and 1/3 your brother. So it's not just like a brother or a friend, it's also a third yourself. So when you were growing up, I don't know, do you have siblings?
I have a sister only.
Yeah. So if you had an idea and you would try it on your sister, she maybe go or whatever, or yeah, that's a nice idea. But when I had an idea and I bounced it off him, because he's so similar to me, he knew exactly what I meant. So I could brainstorm. It was almost like I could brainstorm with myself out loud, which meant we would always invent new games. We could never play a game without changing the rules. So we were always bouncing ideas off each other in real time. And I think that really kind of it's one of the things that triggered my creativity early in life.
That's a wonderful story.
And I would like to add that because not everyone, you cannot become an identical twin, right? So that's unique to me. But now with AI, you can actually get the same experience. If you upload everything that you've written, all your emails, everything, get AI to really know you and your tone of voice and everything, and then you use 11 Labs to record your own voice, you can now tell the AI, be me when I brainstorm ideas, and do it in my tone of voice. And now you can talk to the AI. AI will talk back to you in your own voice and reply as if it's being you. And you can get the same experience. It's actually really cool. You can brainstorm with yourself out loud.
That sounds very creative indeed, Fredrik. And if we're looking then at your journey, you have spoken in more than 75 countries. I had the honor myself to hear you speak in Myanmar at a very special conference just before the pandemic. What are some of the most surprising things you learned about creativity then, as you have traveled the world and seen so many different cultures?
Well, that's a difficult question because I've learned so many interesting things. Because you mentioned Myanmar, I was recently in Bhutan and did a speech, and I interviewed some people in Bhutan because I want to understand how do Buddhist people look at creativity. And this is just one example of all the people I've met. I met this former minister of tourism of Bhutan, and I interviewed him, how do you look at creativity? And he said, you Westerners, like for you, it's all about self-expression. Creativity is like, this is who I am. Look, and you're creating something for the world. You're solving problems. It's all outward. And he said, that's not wrong, and that's great. But more than that, creativity is an inward journey. He said, creativity is not about expressing yourself. Creativity is about understanding yourself. And when you do creative things, you do that because you want to understand who you truly are. It's a journey of self-discovery. And it is a profound insight, because when you realize this, you realize you can never fail on a creative project. Because even if the project fails, let's say you paint a painting and it's ugly, and or you write a book and no one buys it, you still learn something writing that book or painting that painting. So the failure disappears when you realize that creativity is about, one of the strongest reasons to do something creative is to fully understand who you really are, to discover yourself.
And how important is creativity today? There's so much disruptions happening in the workplace, and you just touched on AI as well, and so on. But how important is creativity now? Can we rely on AI to be creative for us?
First of all, we can. I think AI is a wonderful creativity tool. AI in itself can help us come up with ideas. We can use AI to come up with better ideas. But so yes, AI is the most amazing creativity tool we have ever invented since the pen 5,000 years ago. But the question, why do we need to be creative? The World Economic Forum ranks creativity as the number 4 most important skill of the future this year, and it was number 1 last year. It's always on the top right now. So yes, the world is changing, and to change, we need to do things differently. To do things differently, we have to be creative. But more importantly, creativity is what makes you happy. I have a friend in Sweden, Johan Stahl von Holstein. I met him a couple of days ago. He asked me once, Fredrik, what's the most amazing feeling for a human being? And I said, love? And he goes, yes, true. But what is the second most amazing human feeling? And I said, what do you mean? It's having an idea, or seeing one of your best ideas come through. Nothing makes us happier, apart from love. Nothing makes us feel more alive, more energized, more joyful, more human than when we have the best idea of our lives. So that's the main reason why we should be more creative. It makes us feel alive, it makes us human, and it makes us happy.
And that is one of the purposes of your book, I understand, the world of creativity, where you explore how basically individuals can use creativity to enhance those strengths. Perhaps you can enlighten us a little bit more and give us some insights from your book.
There are 2 main reasons for the book. And the first one is I interviewed thousands of creative people, almost one a day. And I interviewed almost none of them use creativity exercises. But most creativity books are full with creativity exercises. So there's a problem with creativity books. So I realized, so what do creative people do? They make sure that they are inspired, and then they make sure that inspiration triggers them to act on their creativity. So I've written a book that is written to inspire you to act on your own creativity by being inspired by creative people from all over the world. It's 37 different countries, 37 different chapters. But it's also a description, it's also a deep dive into how the creative process works. One of the first sentences in the book is like this: you cannot master that which you don't understand. If you want to master creativity, you have to understand the creative process. So I describe, and most people haven't thought about the creative process. So I describe in detail many aspects of the creative process so that you will get a better understanding of it yourself, and at the same time be inspired to be more creative yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And is there a particular story that from your book that you would like to share with us?
Well, I mean, it's 37 of my favorite short stories, so I can pick anyone. But this is about potential, right? To reach your full potential. Well, the first chapter is about curiosity. Because if you want to be more creative, you have to be more curious. So curiosity is the trigger for the creativity, and curiosity can be you can improve on it. It's like a 3-minute story though. Is that too long for your podcast?
Maybe we can have at least a summary of it.
I'll give you a short version because it's a good story. The story is about Frank Stevenson. He's the car designer behind the Mini, right? You know the Mini? He's the guy who did that. And later he moved to McLaren. And before he did that, he went on vacation. And he's the most curious person I've ever interviewed. So I said, give me a story about how your curiosity works. And he said this. Once, before I started at McLaren, I went to Bahamas on vacation. And I check into the hotel, and behind the reception hangs a sailfish, like a big sailfish. And he says to the receptionist, "Oh, wow, why is there a sailfish here?" And she goes, "I don't know." And no one has ever asked. And he goes, "But I want to know." So most people wouldn't even notice the sailfish, but he wants to know, right? And then the order comes out, and he starts learning about sailfish. And then he's flying home to start at McLaren. But then he realizes, wait a minute, I never saw a live sailfish. So he stops in Miami, goes down to the harbor of Miami, and tries to see if someone has caught a live sailfish. And he's so lucky that one guy comes in with a sailfish. And he says to the guy, "Can I buy the fish from you?" And the guy says, the fish is not for sale. He says, "I don't care. This is America. Anything is for sale. How much do you want for the fish?" And the guy says, "I want $20,000. So he buys the fish for $20,000. He stuffs it. He paints it in the colors of McLaren. And then he goes home and starts his new job. And he hangs the fish in this design studio of McLaren to remind the people who work there that we are here to build fast things, because the sailfish is the fastest fish in the ocean. And more importantly, he then takes the fish down from the wall and puts it into the wind tunnel to say, why is the sailfish so fast? And he learns that there are tiny bumps on the body that creates a little swirl that makes a little bit less of a vacuum between the water. And that's why the sailfish is so fast. So he puts that on the McLaren, and that makes the McLaren slightly faster. The lesson here is, because he just happened to notice a sailfish behind the receptionist on the vacation, the McLaren is now faster. Curiosity is the key for creativity. And the Icelandic word for curious is forvitten. For means before, vitten means to know, meaning the original root of the word for curious is that which comes before knowledge. So if you want to learn and understand something, you first need to be curious about it. So ask yourself, what are you curious about? And then use that energy to develop your creativity.
That's a wonderful story. And if a listener now here today listen and they want more creativity in the organization, so curiosity would be the first path, and perhaps picking up a copy of your book as well. So,
well, it is written to ignite curiosity for sure.
So, if someone reads the book, there's some things they can bring with themselves and use inside the office.
Every chapter ends with a reflection, which is a practical reflection on what you can do yourself to develop your own full creative potential. Because here's the lesson. Creativity is endless and infinite. Like whatever potential you think you have, you can have so much more if you develop your creativity, because then you will see things you didn't even think. Creativity and imagination is the ability to see what other people didn't even have the possibility to see. Which means when you develop your own creativity, you see potential in yourself you didn't even know you had.
Yeah. And if we bring this up then to perhaps a national level, and I heard you speak, Fredrik, at conferences where you spoke about the countries with highest creativity and mentioning some with the lowest creativity and so on. How will this then play out in this next phase in the world where there's so many challenges there, and perhaps we need that creativity really to reinvent, and many people are looking at Sweden as a country with a lot of innovations. What do you see on a country level?
Well, I see a lot of differences between how different cultures approach creativity. But I think what the lesson is, as a human, you should learn from the other cultures how they approach creativity and then adapt that to yourself. Because it's like you're now given different tools that you can use and expand your knowledge about creativity. Maybe because we're coming to the end, maybe I should share the Swedish example for you. Because the Sweden is ranked the third most creative country on the planet, and we are just 10 million people. How is this possible? So the lesson in the book is about the Swedish national team of cooking. The Food Olympics. And you are Swedish, so you know we are not famous for food. We are famous for bad meatballs at IKEA. That's what we are famous for. So how can Sweden win the Food Olympics and beat food nations, food giants like France and Italy and Tokyo and Japan? So I met with the Swedish national team of cooking, and they said the best French chefs, they think French food is the best in the world. So they go and work in a 3-star Michelin restaurant. The Japanese chefs think Japanese food is the best in the world, and it takes 7 years to become a sushi master chef. So all these big food nations, they think their food is the best, so they study their food. But Swedish chefs, they know Swedish food is not the best. So they go to Paris, they work in a 3-star Michelin restaurant, they go to Tokyo, not for 7 years, but for 7 weeks, and they learn from a sushi master chef. Then they go to Italy, they go to Thailand, and they learn everything about the best food all over the world. Then they go back to Sweden, and they learn about meatballs. And as they told me, then we go to the Food Olympics, and we take the best of Sweden and the best of the world, and we do herring sashimi with lingonberry wasabi, and we win. And that's the sweet spot. Creativity is the ability to be confident in what you know and ignore what everyone else is saying. Everyone is turning left. I don't care. I'm going to go right. To do that, you need to be confident about your own abilities. But creative people also think like this. Everyone is going left. I'm going to go right. Wait a minute. Maybe right is wrong. Maybe I should go forward, upward, downwards, around in circles. Creativity is to be confidently doubting or doubtfully confident. If you're too doubtful, you don't do anything. If you're too confident, you become arrogant, and arrogant is terrible for creativity. So learn from the Swede. Be confidently doubting and doubtfully confident.
I absolutely love that, and what a way to end the show, Fredrik. And also, I need to learn from those Swedish chefs because I'm a hopeless chef myself. So now I know the learning is curiosity. I'm in Thailand today. I should join some of the cooking classes here and see what I can do.
You should, but you should also say that there are many, many different ways to be creative. So maybe cooking isn't one of them. Maybe that's not your creative forte. But I know you, Nick, and you're such a creative person in other areas of your life. So we should never feel bad for being not creative in one area. We should be happy about the areas that we are creative in, and we should expand on those.
Thank you so much. You're ending with compassion here, Fredrik, and for that I thank you. And it's been wonderful to have you on the show, Fredrik, and thank you for taking your time. And I can encourage all the listeners to dig into the book by Fredrik Härén, The World of Creativity. Fredrik, any last words or anything I forgot to ask you that you want to add before we let you go?
Well, I, if you don't mind, I'm the Creativity Explorer on LinkedIn. I share a lot of content there on how you can become more creative. So, if they want to join me there, I would love to see them there.
Absolutely. We will encourage everyone to follow you on LinkedIn. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Sweden soon, somewhere around the corner, Fredrik.
Or in Singapore. I'm coming soon to Singapore. I'll see you then.
All right. See you then. All the best. And thanks to all the listeners as well. And enjoy your creativity. Thank you.